In this video, I'm gonna show you how to self-host Bitwarden for free. Now we're actually gonna use the lightweight server open source alternative called Vaultwarden. Although we can use all of the Bitwarden apps, the mobile app and the Chrome extension. I'm gonna show you how to set all that up in this video. I'm gonna show you how to have a custom domain name for that. And we're not even gonna expose this to the web at all. It's only gonna be on our internal Tailscale network. Like this video, subscribe, and let's get into it now. All right. Okay, let's start with a fresh server. So I'm gonna clone an existing Ubuntu instance that I have, and I'll just call this Vaultwarden demo. And next, full clone, let's let that go. Okay, let's start that up. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is install Docker so that we are able to bring up these containers. So let's do that real quick. Just a Google search of Docker engine install, and I'll just go and click on the Ubuntu link. And then I'm just gonna open up a terminal and copy these two commands in here. First, to set up the apt repository. Okay, and then we're going to run the command to install Docker. Okay, so Docker is installed. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is install a reverse proxy web server on our Ubuntu server here so that we can route our custom Bitwarden domain to our actual Bitwarden service. So let's go ahead and set up a reverse proxy first. I'm going to use Nginx Proxy Manager because it is just very easy to just set up and configure. So we're going to go ahead and do that. You can use whatever reverse proxy you want. Just know that we are going to be using a DNS challenge to get our SSL certs with our DNS provider. In my case, it's going to be Cloudflare. So let's go ahead and get this started. I'm going to copy this Docker Compose file from my website. The link is in the description. Right now, it's just a blog post, and hopefully I will move it at some point over to my home server section of my website. So what I'm going to do is make a directory in my home folder for all of my Docker apps. So I'm going to say make dir docker and then cd into that. And then let's create a directory for Nginx Proxy Manager. I'll just call it npm cd into that. And then we are going to nano our docker compose.yml file and just paste that guy in there. So in my Docker Compose stack, I do just have this go access section, which is going to provide us metrics on our web server about who is accessing our web server. Just really easy additional container to set up. You can just delete all of that if you don't want it. But I'm gonna have it just read all of my log files. I'm just gonna come in here and comment this out. When you do create a proxy host, which is basically a URL that you are hosting and routing on your server, it will create a log file, and the first one will basically be proxy host 1. That's why I put this section in here, but you can just kind of comment that out. And then we have everything we need to go here. This is running in host mode, so I don't really actually need these ports to be exposed. They're already going to be exposed just by virtue of being in host mode, but I'll keep them there anyways in case you do not run this in host mode. So let's go ahead and write this to file, and then let's take up this container with sudo docker compose up d. First thing it's going to do is actually pull the containers, and then it's going to up them. Okay, so those containers are up and running. Let's go ahead and see if we can log into the Nginx Proxy Manager interface. So I'm gonna go to localhost because I am in the server, and then I'm just gonna go to port 81. And here we go. Okay, and then the initial admin email address is just admin@example.com, and then password is changeme. And then let's go ahead and give ourselves an actual administrator account. Email thomas@thomaswildtech.com. I'll give it a new password of thomaswildtech. Okay, so we have our proxy manager. Here we go. Okay, before we get Vaultwarden set up on our server, let's also go ahead and install Tailscale because we are going to route a domain name that only gets resolved to our Tailscale IP address. That way we can access this Vaultwarden or Bitwarden instance anywhere as long as we are on the Tailscale network, right? Okay, let's go to tailscale.com. And if you don't already have an account, you can go and create one. It's free. We're using this so that we can access our services anywhere securely with WireGuard connections. And then we're going to hop over to add device. And we're going to choose a Linux server. And I don't need this auth key to be any more than a day because I'm installing it right now. Just hit generate install script. I'm going to copy this and let's paste that into the terminal. And then let's run that command, sudo tailscale up. And now we should be added to our Tailnet. So let's go back to all machines. And here we go, VirtualBox Ubuntu. And we have an IP address for our server. Now this is specific to our Tailnet. It's an IP address, but we are going to need this because we're going to route a DNS record, a public record, to this IP address, which only actually resolves if you're on our Tailnet, right? So let's hop back over to Nginx Proxy Manager. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a wildcard cert. So let's go to add a cert. And then I want a wildcard for all subdomains with a subdomain of tail. And then I'm going to use my domain name wildebeestmedia.com. And so we're not doing the regular HTTP challenge. We're going to use a DNS challenge. Okay, and then for the DNS provider, we're going to use Cloudflare. And then we need to go grab an API token. So I'm using Cloudflare for my DNS provider. So I'm going to log into Cloudflare to get that API token. I'll show you how to do this if you're using Cloudflare. Should be a similar process for any DNS provider. So cloudflare.com, I'm going to log in, hit search, and then just search for API tokens. And then we're just going to go to the profile settings, API tokens, and go to create token. And then we're just going to use this template for edit zone DNS. That's all we need to do. We just need to be able to edit the zone for wildebeestmedia.com, right? So zone, DNS edit, include. I'm just going to do a specific zone for wildebeestmedia.com. That's going to give Let's Encrypt the ability to verify that we do in fact own that domain. Click continue and then click create token. Let's copy this token. Then I'm going to paste this into a text editor just so I don't forget it. Back to Nginx Proxy Manager, we're going to paste our token right here. Click on I agree and hit save. Okay, now that we have that cert, let's actually put in the DNS record that routes our subdomains of this tail subdomain of our domain to our actual server here. So go back to Cloudflare, click on the domain, click on DNS. Now we're going to create an A record, and the name is going to be wildcard.tail. And then the IPv4 address, that is our Tailscale IP address for the server. So let's copy that guy and paste this here. And we're not going to be proxying traffic. We just need it for the DNS resolution. Hit save. Okay, at this point, we should have everything kind of configured to set up Vaultwarden with a custom domain. I'm just going to Google search Vaultwarden. Let's go to the GitHub site. Okay, and then basically this is essentially what the Docker Compose file is going to look like. So let's go and copy this. Open up your terminal, and we're going to cd up back into our Docker folder, and then make directory for, I'll just call it Vault. Okay, so let's cd into that Vault directory now, and then we are going to get the Docker Compose file, and then nano docker compose.yaml, and we're going to paste this in here. Now we need to map a different port other than 80 because we're using 80. So in the spirit of freedom, let's use 1776. And then the domain, we need to actually tell the container what domain we are allowing to use. So let's make it vault.tail.wildebeestmedia.com, and we should be good to go. So let's write that out. Docker compose up D for detached, and let's run that with a sudo. Okay, so Vaultwarden should be up and running now. let's create a proxy host in Nginx Proxy Manager that is going to route the domain for the Tailscale domain to that service. So that's vault.tail.wildebeestmedia.com. Hit the add, and then the forward host is basically just the local host 127.0.0.1 because we are running Nginx Proxy Manager in host mode. And then this is port 1776. Okay, and then we do need to get that wildcard SSL cert, and we're going to use that wildcard cert. And of course, the cool thing about that is that you can just use that same cert for any of these subdomains for our tail subdomain. So basically, we're just going to use this for any service that we want only accessible on our tailnet. And let's hit the force SSL. So that's going to redirect, right? We can also do the HSTS and HTTP2 support and hit save. Okay, so let's see if that is up and running because I am on the tailnet on the server. We'll test it out on my computer too. Boom, we are in. So let's create an account. Say name is Thomas. Okay, we need a good master password. I'm just going to use Thomas Wild Tech for this demo. I'm almost surprised that that's considered good. So create an account and we will sign in. Okay, log in with master password. Okay, so we're inside. The first thing I want to do is just also configure a multi-factor authentication for signing in. So let's hop into settings, go to security. Let's go to two-step login, and then let's go to authenticator app. So do manage, I do the master password. Awesome, so let me get my trusty old phone out. Okay, I'm going to use the Microsoft Authenticator app. You can use whatever one you want. The Google Authenticator is also a popular one. And I don't know if it is actually recording my screen, but what I'm going to do is click on the QR code. And then there we go. Vaultwarden is added. Thomas at thomaswildtech.com. Okay, so I'm going to enter in the verification code. So this is like the one-time code here. 601658, and then hit turn on. So we can get a recovery code. You should probably do this and write this down. So two-step login recovery code, write that down, put it in a safe spot. I'm not going to do that for this demo. Okay, so we have Vaultwarden set up on the server with our custom domain name. Let's just check to make sure I can access this from my own PC. So I'm going to open up a Chrome tab here, and we're going to go to vault.tail.wildebeestmedia.com. Before I do that, let me just double check. I'm not on my tailnet, right? So if I'm not on the tailnet, this doesn't go anywhere, right? My router is like, dude, I don't know where to take you. This is what would happen if anyone tried to access your site. This is why I just love the security of it being self-hosted and only accessible on my tailnet. So let's hit the tail, and then look at that. It just automatically resolved right there. Now we're in, right? Okay. And we'll do the Chrome extension too, I promise. So what was it? Thomas at thomaswildtech.com. And you see, not only do we need the password, but we also need the verification code. That's why I love doing the authenticator. Just a two-factor setup. Okay, and check it out. We are in the vault. This is awesome. So let's create a password here just for fun. Let's go to new item, and then we can add 4 different categories here: login, card, identity, secure, note. Let's do login. And I don't know, we'll do let's just do like some kind of bank. So let's say Chase, okay? And then folder, I don't have any folders here. We can create one, maybe like a finance folder. And then the username, let's just say that it's Thomas. And then the password. So Vaultwarden can create a password for us like that. And we can also set rules on that. So if we want it to be 20 characters, if we want it to always have special characters, I can show you how to do that. Right now, we'll just stick with this one. I would want it to have special characters too. So let's set that rule. I'll do this real quick, and then we'll change it. Okay. There's no authenticator key for this service. You could provide the passkey in here. And then the URI would be jace.com. I'm sure it's www.jace.com. I'm just going to take the chance that that is the URL. And you can provide some notes too, like, whatever. Personal bank account, sure. Any custom text fields, master password reprompt. I don't really care to do that. I'm already in. So let's save that. And boom, I love how, you get the logo too. You have all of your services here. It's got the logos to kind of help you out. So let's change the settings for the passwords. All right, let's just set our length to, I'm gonna go tools generator 20, and then we'll do that. Let's see if that saves to our preferences. Let's go back to Chase. Let's regenerate. Yeah, I want to regenerate that password. Okay, now we got a super strong password and save that guy. Let's create a folder. Just want to show you how to do a few things in here. So a new folder, call this finance. Why not? Go to Chase, set this to the finance folder. Now I can see the finance folder down here. Just easy way to categorize your passwords and whatnot. So the next thing I'll do is let's install the mobile app. Now I'm a little afraid it's not going to let me screen record much of it. So I may not do too much with the mobile app, but just want to show you how you can connect to your own server as long as you are on your Tailscale. Let me make sure I'm connected. Okay, so I'm connected to my Tailnet now, and I can just search for Bitwarden. So we can use the official Bitwarden app, which is awesome. Thank you, Bitwarden. Hit install, okay, hit open, and then we are logging on to a self-hosted server. So the URL is https wildebeestmedia.com. Okay, hit save. And boom, we're in. I can see that finance, I can see the Chase, I can copy the password, I'm ready to go. So we're using the Bitwarden app on my phone. One other service that is pretty dang awesome is the Chrome extension. So let's go to the Chrome Web Store, hop over here, and let's get that Bitwarden. Oh, this is so cool. Boom. Okay, it's already in there. Okay, when you install the extension, you're not going to have it. You can pin it right up here so that you can easily access it. Go ahead and choose the self-hosted option and put in the domain vault.tail.wildebeestmedia.com. Save that. It's just like the app, right? Email address thomas@thomaswelltech.com. And I'll choose not to remember it. Master password. Log in. We got the authenticator set up. Let's do that one more time. Enter. And then boom, look, there's that Chase entry that I created right there. What I love about this too is that the Chrome extension, it'll prompt you to generate a password when you're signing into some other place. So I can also just go right to the URL, launch the website, boom, chase.com, and then, I got Chase, Thomas. It just threw my password in there because I'm signed in, which is pretty damn cool. If I went to some other website, let's just say Wells Fargo, I could put in, I can basically say a new item. See, Bitwarden pops up right there, new item. I could go ahead and create these credentials, enter in a password, and then boom, it's added it to my Bitwarden or my Vaultwarden right off the bat. So it's really easy to just kind of create additional passwords and manage it right with the Chrome extension. So that's pretty damn cool. I want to show you one other feature here, and that is an organization. So let's create an organization, and I'll just call this family. And the reason why I'm doing this is now if someone else creates an account, like my wife or my kids or whoever, and we want to be able to share, our Netflix password or something like that, we can add that to the organization. So now I can see everything that's in the family. I can create a new item, log in, Netflix, Thomas, generate password, do netflix.com. Who owns this item? The family does. So anyone added to the family can see that password. And then boom, Netflix right there added to the family collection. So if I go to my own password manager, I can see my own Chase account, and then I can see the Netflix family account. So pretty dang cool. Okay guys, one more thing I want to show you is how to enable and secure the server admin page. Now this is different from just the normal user admin page within Vaultwarden. This is the server administrator. First thing we need to do is actually generate a token. So to do this, we need our Vaultwarden instance up and running. And then we're going to run a command to generate a hash within the container. So you're going to run sudo docker exec it, and then the name of your container, which for me is just Vaultwarden, but that's whatever you name the container in your Docker Compose file. Then the command /Vaultwarden hash. Okay, so this is our admin password. So this should be a strong password. I'm just going to do Thomas Wild Tech. And then confirm. Okay, and then we get this admin token that we are going to put as an environmental variable. Okay, so you can just grab this entire text right here, and I'm just going to right click and hit copy. And then we're going to put that into a .env file. So let's do a nano.env, and let's just paste that in there. And note that we're calling that admin token. Write that out. And then let's jump into our Docker Compose file. Inside of the environment block, you're going to add admin token, and then we're just going to reference that admin token environmental variable. Let's take this down and then back up. Okay, and then instead of the normal login URL, we are going to go to /admin, and then we're going to enter in that password that we hashed. So that was Thomas Wild Tech, and hit enter, and then now we're in. So like a couple things I can do are I can check out the users here. And so if I had another user in here, I could just easily delete the user. I could remove their two-factor authentication if they lost that token or whatnot. I can pretty much do everything in regards to this container. I hope you found this video useful. If so, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe to see more content like this. If you have any special requests on stuff to self-host, or if you have any additional questions on Bitwarden or Vaultwarden, self-hosting it, let me know in the comments down below, and I will do my best to answer those. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. All right.